And we're live and we're back. SmackDown is on. Roman Reigns returns tonight. We're seeing John Cena. Let's have an intro.
This is Big E from the new day. Give me that Hull Yeah. Give it to me. I need it.
There we go. Thank you, Big E. Get well soon. I'll tell you what, there's nothing like logging in to your BT Sport or only to learn that the password has been changed and it's 1 a.m. and you can't just ring the person you share it with and ask them what they changed it to. So alternative arrangements have been resolved. But anyway, SmackDown, I've got it on. I'm watching it. Crisis averted. Here we are. I'm here. Cena is out. We've got this is going to be one hell of an episode, one hell of a stacked episode. This is the night Roman Reigns returns. We've got a few other things going on as well, but that's the big news. That's the big thing that's happening tonight. Obviously, Cena still being back is a big deal, coming off one of the biggest episodes of NXT ever. Andy and I were talking about that on the Wrestling Royalty podcast as to, you know, we smell a little bit of cynicism and insecurity on WWE doing that, but it was still a great episode of TV, still a great episode of wrestling, still, you know, a really good NXT episode. So we've got no complaints, but yeah, whatever. I think things are good. I'm a little bit. I'm still feeling that the last pay-per-view was a little bit lackluster. There were some awesome matches, and I think this was AEW as well. I think Wrestle Dream and Fastlane, just there was something missing on both. There's some amazing matches on both cards, but I felt a little bit unsatisfied. I don't know. And this is a pay-per-view with that. Do you know what it is? I think like Gunther and Ciampa, I feel like should have been on there. Not only that, I thought. I think I'm just not a big fan of Falls Count Anywhere matches. And oh my God, he's here. As it's slow on the uptake then. So Mark's got all the scoops at the moment. Mark is saying Karrion Kross confirmed to Chris Van Vliet that he was meant to work with Bray Wyatt at Mania 39. With Bliss, Dallas, and Scarlett all involved somehow. That's interesting. So what about the Lashley angle they were doing? Because that never felt right. That felt a bit thrown together. Don't get me wrong. In hindsight, I would have loved to have seen Bray, and I wish I hadn't have caught COVID and it impacted his heart tragically in the way it did. But anyway, let's hope they can still do something cool with Karrion Kross and they can rehabilitate him somewhere. Smiley Barnes is saying, brother from another mother. Hello there. Mark again saying, looks like it could be Roman versus LA Knight at Crown Jewel. I've heard something different from someone reliable, but it's certainly an idea. I think they need to... Yeah, I suppose they have already tied LA Knight into the Bloodline story somewhat now. In recent weeks, like with the Bloodline and Judgment Day forming a bit of an alliance and that all going pear-shaped. It'll be nice to see if they do anything with that, because I kind of enjoyed it. But Roman Reigns coming out to confront Cena. Ooh, which is a blast from the past. Smiley Barnes is saying tonight's show is going to be interesting. I agree. Like, just Roman being back just add some gravitas. So here's the thing. I'm not one of these people who believes Roman Reigns should be on TV every week. I don't think he should be. I think him deliberately not turning up generates heat and it generates gravitas. I like the fact that he's sacking us off and he's not turning up every week. I'm not so sure about him not appearing at pay-per-views. I'm a bit on the fence with that. But because I've just something was missing from Fastlane for me. But now that and I think him being gone last time was too long. So if we're going to keep the belt on him, he needs to be a little bit more than a part-timer. Like, even I'm struggling to defend it now, and I've been defending it for a while. And I even defended that tactic of booking when Brock Lesnar was doing it, and Roman Reigns was the one criticizing him for it. Remember that? This is going to be good. Let's hope he doesn't stutter on his words this time. He's come a long way as Roman since then. I'm not talking about suckering succotash. I'm talking about that time he kind of fell over his words a bit and Cena went, this is called cutting a promo. You have to do that if you're ever going to be the man around here, kid. Absolutely golden. It was off the cuff as well, so I imagine Cena had to kind of like say sorry to him backstage and say, look, I was just, handling the moment. Here we go. Mark saying it's meant to be Styles, however, he's still written off TV. Yeah, he is. Let's hope we see him again soon. Before Saudi Arabia, hopefully, although I imagine AJ Styles' wife won't be best impressed with him going back there after what happened on the runway that time. But anyway, we won't talk about that because we don't want to get told off. But Smiley saying DIY may return as a tag team. I'd say it's a foregone conclusion at this point, Matt. Oh, we're getting the catchphrase. Milking it. There it is. There it is. Acknowledge me. So, yeah, Cena hitting the ring and then Roman Reigns hitting the ring a couple of minutes later. That we're starting strong, aren't we? Paul Heyman's still got his Paulie Walnut twings. The grey hair going on. That was a Sopranos reference for anyone who's not in the know. Speaking of Sopranos references, we're getting them every single week on NXT at the moment. It's the best. I kind of want Roman's t-shirt, I haven't yawned yet. I mean, we're 9 minutes in. I've not yawned yet. That might be a new record. Now that I've said it. But I've got a cup of tea. I've just had a Red Bull. I've got a cup of tea, my awesome Avengers mug. I'm ready to go. Who have we got in? Make yourselves known. What regulars have we got in? I haven't seen any Sassies or Daniels yet. Oh my God, that's amazing. Smiley, smiley, smiley. He's saying, how would you use Jade Cargill if you were in charge? I'm always in charge. No, I'm joking. You say ask the chat, Smiley, but you ask the chat when you say ask the chat when it goes up. I personally would have put her in NXT, but I think that ship has sailed. So I don't know how I'm going to initially book her, but I will tell you the dream matches that I want. Charlotte Flair, Bianca Belair, Asuka, Becky Lynch. God, who else? Yeah, there's just, I think now, go a little bit AEW with this thing and give me dream matches. Let me see who the better woman is as opposed to storylines that are being forced. Let's just make that the story, that this athlete wants to wrestle everybody. And if you don't wrestle her, she'll come and find you. I like the idea of Jade Cargill being the one to kind of Rhea Ripley versus Jade Cargill. Give it to me right now. And also, I like the idea of Cargill. You know how Nia Jax is coming out and just brutalizing people, and they're also busy fighting each other that they forget to go after her. It's a bit ridiculous. I enjoyed it at first, but now, like, if you all want a piece of it, go and have a piece of it. Stop. Shayna Baszler's another one. Stop the silliness. But I kind of like the idea of Cargill coming out and just annihilating Jax and being like, right, now I'm top dog. I do kind of like that idea. I mean, she's on Raw. Just saying. At least I believe she is. I could be wrong. Oh, so Heyman's dyed his hair back. Oh, thank God. Yes, he has. You're right. I've just seen him from the side view. Cena and Roman. Oh, music. LA Knight. Yeah, you might be right, Mark. You might be right. And I'd take it. I don't know about you, but I'd take it. I think he might be fighting Solo tonight by the looks of things. I would start her in a heel faction. See, I don't know. Maybe, yeah. I think word on the street is they kind of want to do a repeat of the baddies thing. I don't know if they can get away with calling it that, with that being very much an AEW thing, but it was a Jade Cargill thing before it was an AEW thing. So we'll see. Yeah, I think like that booking just writes itself, doesn't it, Mark? Solo versus LA Knight. Well, there you go. He just got in his face, didn't he? There you go, straight away. I mean, I imagine Roman isn't wrestling tonight. Good if he was. But he only goes for the big gates now, doesn't he, May? Let me talk to you. I love how Roman Reigns is like, who's this guy? It's like, since when was this guy over? Roman's facial expressions are just the best. I love LA Knight. I adore him, but I don't think he's the man to do it. I think Cody finishing the story is the way things have got to go, you know? See, I've heard, Mark. Oh, is it the Nick Aldis thing? Yeah. Let's let people watch it though. Let's not throw any spoilers out just in case people don't want to know. Yeah, I know one thing was debunked officially, but I know another thing is as good as certain, or like word on the street is that certain person might become a GM, but that'll just be a way of getting them into a feud with somebody big in the run up to Mania. Again, plans could change. And if anybody ever tells you they know what's happening in long term booking, they are lying, because long term booking changes and does more than WWE would ever be comfortable admitting. Sometimes they know the destination, but the road getting there takes a few bumps and twists and turns because life gets in the way, doesn't it? For example, Bray Wyatt was meant to be back by now and was meant to be the top babyface on SmackDown. You know, life got in the way. And in a way, it throws a lot of their plans into disarray. So everything, I suppose, that they're doing with LA Knight and even Cena and etc., I suppose, is filling that void. I don't mean to say that in a sad way or an opportunistic way. It's just it sucks, but in a way. But the show must go on sometimes. You know. Well, my heart is still a little bit broken by the loss of Bray Wyatt. I'm going to buy a Bray Wyatt Christmas jumper this year. Don't tell him. I might buy Dom one as well and give it to him when I see him, when we go back to our universities to give our the guest lectures. I might give it to him then, but I'm going to wear a Bray Wyatt Christmas jumper this year on Christmas Day. I don't even celebrate Christmas religiously. I celebrate it in a completely secular manner, but it's still an awesome day, isn't it? I still love Christmas. Michael King is saying, do you think Drew will join Judgment Day? I don't think it works. I don't know. It's an idea, but I kind of like this lone wolf Drew we're getting at the moment. This more edgy, I'm not getting involved in other people's business, I'm not being the savior Drew. I don't know if him kind of going solo almost, that's not a three-man band reference, but I don't know if him going solo is then makes sense if he then goes and joins a pack, a pack of hyenas like Judgment Day. LA Knight getting in Roman's face, and I'm all about it. Oh, here's Gimme Uso coming out of nowhere and getting his ass kicked. The question is, where does Roman stand on this Gimme Uso thing? I really can't wait to hear what he says, but I wonder they'll keep us in suspense for a while longer. I love the idea of Roman just ripping into Gimme Uso and go, hang on a minute, mate, you think you could super kick me in the face and just come walking back in? Nah. I do know one thing. Punk news got debunked pretty quick. It depends on the news, because I'm fairly sure he's not coming now, at least not for a while. And you know what? I'm right with WWE's decision to not bring him on board. I'm only going to address this once because I'm so bloody sick of talking about CM Punk and thinking about it. But look, when CM Punk came back after 7 years, I was really, really happy. I was devastated after Brawl Out. I thought it was such a silly thing for all involved to have done, and I was very disappointed in everyone who was involved, not just Punk. And I was pleased and heartened that they managed to get over it. Then the Elite came back, then he came back, and they got the new show. And I thought, right, this is the happy medium. This is where we are, And I thought it's not perfect, it's not ideal, but at least everyone's in the company, and at least we're getting more wrestling. At least everybody's here, and everyone's working. And then that happened at All In, and I'm done now. I'm done. This clearly doesn't make him happy. Wrestling. This clearly isn't for him. Yes, he's very good at doing it, but he can't work with people, can he? I'm not saying the other people involved are perfect, because I certainly know that they're not. But no matter how insufferable and annoying your co-workers are, you can't go around strangling them and assaulting them. Sorry, no. And WWE don't need that. They're doing well. The ratings are good. They've just been bought by a massive conglomerate. They don't need the risk. And CM Punk is a risk. He will eventually become a negative force. There will be problems. And I'm a CM Punk fan, and I'm saying that. But even I've run out of rope. I don't know what more. Like, you can't completely bitch about another promotion and say how it got you ill and all of that, and then burn your bridges with the other one that you've just joined, and then want to go back to the original one that you claimed made you ill. And what are you going to do then? Cut the exact same promo about the other place? No, look, it's over. It's over now. Like, maybe they'll hire him one day when things calm down. But as far as I'm concerned, he should be in bloody handcuffs, and I don't want to talk about him again. So there you go. No more CM Punk for this cowboy. Smiley saying, I miss Bray. That was talented, exactly. Can't wait to see another women's battle royale. They are often fun. They don't get enough time, I think. We seem to get more women's battle royales than men's battle royales in AEW and WWE, but they never seem to get the time they deserve. That's something that irks me. I remember NXT had one a while ago, and it lasted like 3 minutes. I timed it. I was like, what the hell? The news is Punk is defo not bound for Survivor Series. He was never going to be. He was never going to be. I was skeptical the entire time, but anyway, no more Punk. You guys can talk about him, but I'm not. It'd be cool if Naomi returns and sides with Jade. You see, Smiley, I don't want that to happen. I'll tell you why. Because I'm going to watch Impact in Coventry in about 2 weeks. Me and my wife are going down to Coventry to watch that. Do some press perhaps as well if there's any opportunities. Because we're going representing WrestleSphere, of course. And one of the things my wife and I are both very much looking forward to is seeing Trinity Fatu. So, the former Naomi. So I do not want her back in WWE. At least not for a while. I want to, enjoy. I mean, she's Impact Women's Knockouts champion. Let's let her be that for a bit. Unless something's changed in the last episode. I hope not. Yeah, that's a good cup of tea. Heyman's face with nice music played. I love Heyman's facial expressions are almost as good as Roman's. Yes, Hassan, I need to know who's wrestling. Let me wait for the match to come on, and I'll do that for you, mate. And Sassy's in, saying hi, Mark. Hi, Hassan. Welcome to the live stream Friday night. Nice to have you with us, Sassy. Making dinner, I imagine. Sassy's gimmick is she tells me what she's having for dinner every Friday night and makes me jealous. Because it's usually better than what I had. Actually, no, tonight I had Jess cooked tonight, so food was good. She had made us chicken, broccoli, Big jacket potato with some butter on it, some gravy. It was absolutely awesome. Thank you for joining us. Thank you too, Sassy. Hassan saying it was my mum's birthday yesterday. Happy birthday to your mum, Hassan. My mum's birthday's a way off. I'm one of those people now who doesn't like birthdays anymore. I don't like being reminded that I'm getting closer and closer to 40. When you get past 35, birthdays just become something that make you grimace. I still get presents, though. Sassy saying we are live streaming Monday Night Raw, AW Dynamite, and Friday Night SmackDown each week. But it's like we have a couple of difficulties at the moment because I think Dan is on a very different job now to he used to be. So he's found it. If you're wondering where Dan is at the moment, he's finding it a little bit more difficult to commit to every Monday night. It might stabilize, but and we'll figure something out long term. But in terms of like if we help him cover it or whatever that might be. But obviously this is a new job, so it's very, very important that he gets it right, does his probation, does all of that. So that's what's going on a Monday night. But me, Dan, and Ant have all been ill recently as well. So we've all had like a random week off. It's might have been a bit run down, or we've had other work commitments or whatever it might be. Like when I'm in Coventry watching Impact, I won't be doing the Friday Night SmackDown that night because I'll be away. So I'll be in the hotel bar with Jess is where I'll be. Looking forward to the show the next night. They're pretty deadly. I love this Elton Strong thing, by the way. It's so cool. It's so funny. Those skits they were doing with him, like trying to stand up, that was absolutely hilarious. These two are brilliant. I get that they're not for everyone. I get that, but they're absolutely for me. I actually think WWE was really the right place for them as well because they could lean into their silliness a little bit, and this is a duo that really suit that. Sassy saying Hassan, happy birthday to Hassan's mum. Smiley saying NXT ratings have been better since the special appearances. Yeah, but it's the cynicism behind it, But it was a good episode. I won't say it isn't. What you going to do this weekend? I'm going to a wedding on Sunday, Hassan. Looking forward to that. Very much looking forward. I like a good wedding. So I'm going to enjoy myself on Sunday. That's for damn sure. Tomorrow, I'm going to rest. I'm just going to rest. Watch a bit of wrestling, play some video games, walk the dogs. I might go to the gym and do a swim because it often revitalizes me. Then go to the coffee shop next door and get a big fat coffee. Oh, yeah, that's what I want to do. Yeah, so I've got a couple of games I've got to play for work as well. So I need to kind of move my ass on that front. Sassy saying we have memberships for every budget, special emojis and perks. Check the join button. That's true. You can join for a very, very, very small amount of money, and it does bring you a few fun perks. Thank you for that, Sassy. Sassy saying check out WrestleSphere and Soundsphere for all things wrestling and culture. Yep. If you don't know, Soundsphere is Dom. Dom is one of his magazine, his music magazine. Dom is one of the founders of Gimme A Hull Yeah, along with Anthony. Before Dan and I joined, he's taking a bit of time off from Gimme A Hull Yeah at the moment, Dom, but I'm sure he'll be back soon enough. WrestleSphere is something he and I decided to start together because we were doing so much wrestling content on Soundsphere. We were like, right, do we make it an entire brand under Soundsphere, all about wrestling? WrestleSphere was born. We got the logo made, got the music made, got everything done, and it's just been amazing. Went to WrestleSphere, the WrestleMania representing it. We picked the right time to do it because now all the big wrestling companies come to the UK, so we got to go to All In, Money in the Bank, Clash of the Castle, and now we've got the Impact shows coming up. It's what a time to be alive. I love my job, but anyway. Let's just have a little look. Sassy's kicking ass with the plugs tonight. Smiley Barnes saying Major League Wrestling is getting more attractive to me. Kind of interesting. Yeah, Sassy and I are both big MLW fans. I don't have the time I used to have, and so I struggle to catch up with it sometimes. But and I'm not really feeling the current champion. I was much more of a Hammerstone kind of guy. The Bomb AA group just do my head in. But yeah, MLW's defo one to watch. I think after WWE, Impact, and AEW and Ring of Honor, I think MLW and the NWA are the next two to watch. Maybe GCW, but for me, I'm not a huge hardcore wrestling guy. I like it when it's used sparingly. There's a new Wrestling Royalty podcast on YouTube. Check out Andy take on Tuesday Night War this week. Yeah, well, Andy and I, because I'm often his special guest. I'm often his running buddy for Wrestling Royalty. I always fly the Gimme A Hull Yeah flag, though. The Beef Wellington Raw, okay. Billy and Chuck versus Pretty Deadly. Billy and Chuck? Billy and Chuck? Pete and... What the hell's the other guy called? You know, Rich. You know what, Hassan? We'll do that vote, shall we? Smiley saying, best moderator ever. Hell yeah. I'm saying, like, I think I don't see Jack here tonight, Sassy. So it's all you. Running unopposed, aren't you? Running unopposed. I think Jack works Saturday mornings, bless him. That's the reason he can't do SmackDown. Right, I'm doing a poll, Hassan. I'm on it. I promise you. I'm not having what happened last week happen again, where I do the poll just as the bloody match is finishing. Drives me insane. Right, okay. There we go. There we are. Right. So we got Pretty Deadly versus Brawling Brutes. Still don't know if I like that name. The poll is live for Sam. Knock yourself out, mate. There we go. Okay, so let's just do a banner, shall we? Which I'll then ignore for half an hour. Because that's the way it goes. So on now. Deadly versus Brawling Brutes. There we are. It's scrolling. Back to comments. What have I missed? Hassan says, do you have a dance video games? No, no, Hassan. The only time you will ever see me dance is at my own wedding, which is about 5 or 6 years ago, and never again. So I don't do dancing. I don't understand it at all. I love music. I love bopping along to music, I suppose, but nah, you're never going to see me on a dance game. No. I don't think YouTube are going to ban me for your name, Beef. I sincerely hope not. I hope I don't get demonetized because of your name. But this feud having been gone from a hot min. Yeah, I suppose so. Sassy, plug in Misfit. Check out Misfit Wrestling podcast. Yeah, Misfit's often got a lot of scoops, knows his stuff. Arguably, he's one of the biggest super fans I've ever met. That's for damn sure. Makes me look like a casual. That's for sure. Sassy's telling me a dinner. Right, everyone stop. Dinner tonight. Homemade chicken and vegetable posticas with sticky rice. Dessert, mandarin orange glazed mini donuts. I want to swear, but yeah, that sounds amazing. Although mine was pretty good tonight as well. Then I went round to my friend's house, right, and we watched. We're going to have a bit of like horror movie sessions in the run up to Halloween, and we watched the 1980s film The Blob tonight. And I actually thought it was ace. I actually really liked it. I thought it was a good film. I know the reviews weren't kind to it at the time, but I thought it was a good horror film. So she's in High Beef. Funny, I'm making it tomorrow for boyfriend. Hi, Smiley. Thank you, Smiley. Sorry I'm late. Prepping Beef Wellington ran over. Oh, yeah. So, yeah, Beef Wellington's a bitch to make, isn't it? I've never done it myself. I've watched other people do it. and I've heard them tell me it's a bitch to make. I landed me a $20 an hour job too, guys. Well done, mate. I'm playing. Sassy says I'm playing Lies of. Do you mean Lies of P, Sassy? Been cooking all day, Mr. Sam. If you are playing Lies of P, Sassy, read my review on Deserto. I was fortunate enough to get it before release and get through it just before. So I had to do it with because I wrote a lot of the guides for it for Deserto. Me and a few of the other guys too, of course. But yeah, doing Souls games or Souls likes blind is so hard work. It is, but my guy is worth it. Oh, that's nice. We appreciate you, Sassy. You are the bomb. You are da bomb indeed. Yes, Liza P. So my advice, Sassy, right, as somebody who's got to the end of it, is go with a dexterity build with the electric attacks, because that's what I did. I even wrote an article for Deserto on the best builds for Liza P. So yeah, go check that out. It's and they're all really good builds as well. I made sure of that. I've tested them all. There might be better ones now that the game has been out a month since I wrote that, but it's I'm our resident Souls nerd at Deserto. So if there's ever like a Souls game, I've been playing all week. I've been playing Lords of the Fallen, and oh my god, I'm having a great time with that. I love it. I love how Dark Souls 3 is. But yeah, I got invaded as well tonight for the first time. I ruined his day. He did not think it was going to go down that way. Mark saying Sean Ross Sapp is now saying there's more than one announcement in the Hunter segments, unless announced before his segment. Yeah, I'm hearing that too. There's a couple of things, a couple of surprises tonight. I don't know if all of them are true, but let's wait and see. Bron Breakker needs to move up from NXT. See, I'm not so sure, Smiley. I thought it was going to happen at WrestleMania this year, but it didn't. It'll be interesting to see if he's still there after Mania next year. Sorry. So let's see. Let's wait and see. So as he's saying, that's what I did with the electric attack. Saved me, especially with the dogs. I feel like the electric attacks are proper OP because these are robots and they're all kind of like vulnerable to electricity. So when I made that build, like, don't get me wrong, there's the acid and there's all of that as well. But I found once I went with a dex build, and because the synergy between dexterity and is it like the technique or whatever the hell it's called, the arcane, there's kind of synergy between that. So when I combined those two things, it was a little bit like in Elden Ring when you combine dexterity and arcane to make a bleed build, and it becomes incredibly OP. It was a bit like that with Lies of P with electricity. So I kind of leaned on my Elden Ring knowledge and made a very, very overpowered build that just cut through bosses like butter. But anyway, back to the wrestling. Norma says, hi, Sassy, Mark and Sam, and everybody else. Hi, Norma. Mark, do you have a podcast or anything you would like us to mention? Thank you, Mark, for all your information. Much appreciated. Mark and Misfit are competing to be the Scoop Kings. See, anything I hear on the dirt sheets, I don't believe until I've got a press release in my inbox these days. Because if WWE are going to announce something, normally they send us something beforehand. Not just us, everybody. We just happen to be fortunate enough to be on the list. Same with AEW and Impact. It's great. But they send us so much, we can't possibly turn all of it into an article sometimes. So we have to be very selective. I think they're waiting for Roman to go away. Then have Braun as the top heel. Or do they bring him up as a face? Remember, they often ignore NXT, don't they, on the main roster? Hey, Carlito's back. Is it me or does Carlito look like AR Fox? Anybody else ever think that? He's a big guy, isn't he? I forget how big he is, Carlito. He's a big dude. Smiley Barnes saying, maybe seen Snoop Dogg. soon, from rapping to wrestling. Oh, here's Lashley. Carlito's got his apple. Hi, Norma, wonderful assistant who keeps me sane. Misfits here. He's saying we're getting GMs back on WWE TV. See, I've always been of the view that I know they haven't called Pierce a GM. They've called him WWE official. But he's always just been the GM to me, ever since he came back and did this role. But from what I'm hearing about what they're planning from this GM thing, it might be temporary. Again, that might not be true, but from what I'm hearing, the guy they're bringing back to be GM, they're only doing that to create a WrestleMania feud with him, with someone else. And that to me makes a lot of sense, I think, because that's one hell of a talent just to give an office job to. Although he has been working as a producer for a while, so it does make sense. The announcement that the new GM who's been traded for Jey Uso. We all know at this point, it's all over the internet. So let's just see what happens, and let's not give too many spoilers to the people watching. I don't think they will ignore NXT anymore if DX are running it. Yeah, well, that's what I mean. Well, let's be honest now. Vince is pushed away from creative again. Now, that is confirmed now. That is completely confirmed. With Triple H back in charge, and that's an Endeavor decision. So Vince can't argue. Vince now has a boss. And what I was always hoping for was to endeavor to realize that Triple H is now the MVP and not Vince. I know Vince has got the allegations hanging over him, so it's still questionable that he's there at all. But from a business point of view, from the transition from WWE's private ownership, well, public ownership to Endeavor's ownership, it will be majority shareholders at least. It does make sense to have Vince involved in that transition. It makes absolutely zero sense to have involved in creative. So I'm glad that Endeavor have seen sense now and have managed to fix that, because Vince does not need to be involved in creative. For starters, he's not very good at it anymore. And secondly, his role, he put himself back in charge of it. And everybody there apparently was a lot of people there were unhappy about it. So I'm glad that they've rectified that mistake. Because as far as I'm concerned, WWE was at its best in recent years, from SummerSlam 2022 to WrestleMania 2023. And took a little bit of a nosedive after that. So big up Triple H. I'm a big supporter of Trips. Norma says, I wish Carlito would drop his Apple gimmick. It's just nasty. Yeah, it's not aged well, has it, Norma? In the post-COVID age, spitting food into people's face hasn't aged well. I get he's done it a couple of times, and he's always going to be someone who does that now and then. But I agree, it might be time to. The WWE, though, and nostalgia, they can't ever let anything go, can they? They just hammer stuff into the ground. But I agree. I'm not a fan of seeing him do that. I never was, to be fair. My God, Bobby. Are you shocked what he did, Sassy? Or is that look, it's Bobby Lashley? Please like and subscribe. Yes, please do. I love it when they have celebrity GMs. Well, it's not. You'll see who it is, at least who everybody's reported it is. But I'm not going to say it on stream. If you guys want to say it there, that's fine. But I'm of the view that let's let people see the announcement and enjoy it, because it's like, for me personally, even though I am a reporter who does cover wrestling and I see most things in my inbox before I even see them on social media, I sometimes do like being surprised. I don't like living my life on Reddit or Twitter, finding out what's coming. I'd rather just let it wash over me, unless it's important and needs reporting. And so that to me isn't fun, because I suppose it isn't fun because it's my job. I like to switch off and kind of just let it wash over me. That's just me. I find it exhausting, the constant pursuit of what's going to happen next, what's going to happen next. Just watch it. You know what I mean? It's like going to the movies, but reading the synopsis of the whole story before you go and see the film. It's alien to me, is what it is. But anyway. Oh. Imagine if it's Blank versus Pierce. No, I'm hearing it's a little bit more of a big deal than that, but we'll see. Again, it could be wrong because if anybody ever tells you they know what's going to completely, we can fantasy book and plans are plans, but if anybody ever tells you they know exactly what's happening in long-term booking completely, they're lying to you or they're misinformed because things change. Life often gets in the way. Sorry for my squeaky chair, by the way. But yeah, well, don't get me wrong. It's like I said, they do often have destinations they want to get to. Like, we're all fairly sure the destination at this WrestleMania is Roman Reigns versus Cody Rhodes again. But it also might not be. Makes a lot of sense. And you can see how they get there. It's starting to... Oh, here's Roman. Oh, is it bad that I actually want to see Roman punish Jimmy here a little bit? That's how far he's pushed, like Jimmy's pushed me with this heel turn, which I'm still not down with. Hey, look, it's Kurt's son, Jason Jordan. Yeah, you see him backstage all the time now, Jason Jordan. Misfit saying, what do you think of Raw? I thought it was the best Raw of the year. Yeah, I liked it. I think, I don't know if I fully appreciated it. It was a very good one. Sometimes babyface versus babyface matches don't do it for me. And the main event was one of those. I was kind of glad that they got it out of the way, and I kind of hope that's done with now. But it was a great, it was a good match. It was a good show. I think I feel a little bit disappointed by Fastlane. It just felt too short. It just felt like didn't feel there was enough gravitas to it. But it's probably because I wasn't really feeling the main event. I don't know. And I stick to my guns when I say I think Gunther and Ciampa should have been on that and not bloody Raw. I don't know. That's just me. Did you count them all? That's crazy. Jimmy acting like Igor. So does that make Roman Reigns Dr. Frankenstein? Who's Frankenstein's monster in this analogy, Sassy? Is it Solo? Just go back up. Huang's in saying hi. Hi, Huang. Raw was the best of the year. Wow, a lot of love for Raw this week. I think I just watched it like any other Raw. I enjoyed it. I thought it was a good show. I don't know if it was the best of the year. I think I even preferred the one before it. You know, the one where we kind of got like the good Avengers versus all the supervillains, like in one at the end of the show. I thought that was pretty cool. But I like at the moment that WWE is doing more interconnected storytelling, like multiple layered feuds. I love that. I hate it when it's just a case of he's feuding with him, he's feuding with him, she's feuding with her. I like it when people are feuding with multiple people and history matters and, friends have got to keep an eye on each other and enemies might be forced to work together. I like it when everything kind of interconnects. I'm a real fan of that because it's not that difficult to do. And you've got to trust your audience sometimes because WWE sometimes spoon feed the audience and they don't trust us enough. AEW as well are pretty bad for it. They used to be really good at doing it, AEW, but they've gone really bad at doing it. Impact are good at doing it. Ring of Honor and AEW tend to forget about a lot of stuff. So, yeah, so it's refreshing for me to see them doing that. Actually watchable. That's the best compliment you can give it. Sexual chocolate is the new era of Bobby Lashley. It's still Mark Henry owns that. You can't give that to Lashley. As much as you'd like to, and as much as you wish he was made of that, so you could eat him. But there won't be anything left of him though, then, would there? Huang saying hi to Sassy. I want to get credit for the War Games report. Fightful came out. You don't get credit for that. All of us can go on Reddit. Hi there, Misfit Wrestling Podcast. I would love to see Moose or Powerhouse Hobbs in NXT. So that's an interesting one. I'd like Powerhouse Hobbs maybe one day if he feels like the grass might be greener. But I spoke to Moose myself a little while ago, and I asked him. I didn't want to again. Impact were facilitating the interview, so I didn't want to say to him, "Hey, you're going to go to a WWE." But I asked him about Impact as a home, as an employer, and what he thought of it. And he was he pretty much said to me, I don't want to ever work anywhere else but here, which, and I believed him, because sometimes wrestlers say that and then 6 months later pop up somewhere else. But I don't know. I kind of, he felt very sincere. And if you want to watch that interview with Moose, head on over to WrestleSphere, where you can find it. And all the other interviews we've done. Loads of Impact guys. It's awesome. To me, Fastlane was a C+. Yeah, exactly that, Sassy. Wasn't bad. Wasn't inoffensive. Nothing bad happened on it. It was a great, good show. But 5 matches, most of them tag matches. The women's match, I don't understand why Charlotte was in it. No disrespect to Charlotte, because I do think she's fantastic. But I wanted Io and Asuka single on a pay-per-view. That is what I wanted. I still bloody want it. I imagine Misfit wants it too. But I'm like, and the main event, look, I'm just not a fan of these last man standing, fall count anywhere matches. I just find them boring. I feel like once you've seen one, you've seen them all. Like, yeah, they can do some cool spots, but make it a street fight if you must, but keep the action mostly in the ring. I don't want to see them walking up the stairs or hitting each other with popcorn or whatever the hell. I'm just not into it. And it was a half an hour match of them walking around. It was like they did it with Edge and Finn Balor as well, and I exactly the same criticisms leveled at it. It's not for me. That we have a ring for a reason. Like, yes, it's okay to leave the ring and smack each other through tables and stuff. I'm fine with that. But bloody hell, that move from Io was insane. But no, Fastlane won't be one I remember like fondly. It just won't be. Anyway. Can I get a vote? Yeah, we'll do that now. Sorry. Just wait for this to. Okay. If you watch LA Knight's promo back, he references Cena's music. I will tomorrow morning, I think, Mark. What I often do on a Saturday morning is I kind of watch SmackDown back and I take it in. Because when you're hosting this and you're chatting away, there's a lot you don't see. Yeah, it's coming, Hassan. One thing I really like about AW is they have a match schedule that is put out days before the show. None of these sperm of the moment, as Jim Cornette would say, matches. But that's just me. Do you think the Usos twin brothers are separated already, Sam? Yes, they are. One is on Raw and a heel, and one is on SmackDown and a babyface. No, other way around. You know what I mean? I'm tired. It's 2 a.m. Nemo, I feel like that as well for AW. Yeah. AW, I don't know. Like, Ant said something good. He said AW often focuses on the dream matches. And I agree. I actually think it does. I mean, Zack Sabre Jr. versus Bryan Danielson was, I think I heard someone describe it as technical wrestling nirvana. I'm willing to second that. I loved it. It held my attention for the entire time in a way that Shinsuke versus Seth didn't. Guess which one had more action, had more table spots, had more fire to it? Seth and Shinsuke. But Bryan and Sabre Jr. had psychology, had this sportsmanship, the one-man-up shit. It was a bubble. It was the boiling of the frog rather than throwing the frog around the kitchen. It was that. And that's what I like sometimes. That's what I like. But I do think with AEW that sometimes their pursuit of that. Tony Khan sometimes feels like a kid with ADHD playing with action figures, and he puts one action figure down and forgets about it and gets obsessed with this action figure for a bit, and then forgets that he arranged a fight between these action figures and then just didn't do anything with it. So I just think he needs a reining in. He needs a booker. He needs, especially for Ring of Honor, because I love this current era of Ring of Honor, but it's just AEW light rather than a new era for Ring of Honor. And I wish Delirious was booking it with Tony Khan. Yeah, with Tony Khan, I suppose that'd be fine. But if Delirious was, they were leaning on Delirious for that, and maybe let QT Marshall or Dustin Rhodes take over the booking AEW with Tony. I don't know. I'm just have a booking committee. Just Tony's great, Tony Khan, but he's currently spread too thin, I think. Bailey's going to destroy Zelina Vega. I think that's likely. Let's just do a poll. Pretty Deadly won that last one, 89%. Love that. My countrymen kicking ass. Although we're from very, very different sides of the country. Who wins? Zelina Bailey. And I suppose I should do a banner as well, shouldn't I? And then ignore it for half an hour. Zelina Bailey. I kind of want another cup of tea, but I can't be bothered moving. I won't be able to get destroyed by Zelina Vega myself. Sassy saying MLW storylines are getting much better. Recommend women's Grand Prix for Pro Wrestling Revolver last week. I've just done the bloody poll. Is it over? For God's sake. I blame Hassan. I'm joking, Hassan. I don't. I blame me for being too slow. Jimmy Yeet Roman. I don't like that. I can't say words like Yeet, Mark. I'm too old. You know, I'm fairly confident Cody and Jey Uso are too old as well, but I'm 36 in a few weeks. I've got no business saying words like Yeet. That's for sure. Smiley saying Prince Nana's dance is a hit everywhere. He's like Teddy Long Jr. See, at first I thought, what is this idiot doing? But it's now got over with me a bit. But I'm just waiting for the day he's doing that, all this stuff, you know, as with Swerve walking down, and Swerve just elbows him in the face. I'm just waiting for that day, and I really thought it was going to happen at Wrestle Dream. I was like, "Go on, Swerve, go on, get him. He's right there." Because they did tease some tension between Nana and Swerve, didn't they, a while ago? Swerve got in his face and shouted at him. And let's not forget, Mogul Affiliates was a completely different stable when it joined up with, what the hell's the other stable called? With them, the Embassy. So now it's the Mogul Embassy. Is that right? I don't know. But yeah, I don't think that can go on forever because I wasn't a marriage of convenience. I don't know. We'll see. Not all of AEW stables work out. What was the Trust Busters? Bloody hell. Do you remember that? What an awful idea that was. Who greenlit that? What was that about? And they've all left, haven't they? I think most of them, at least. It makes way more sense to stick Daivari with Tony Nese. I'm feeling that. And why did they take the word varsity off the Varsity Blondes and then give it to the Varsity Athletes? What was that about? Saying that, Brian Pillman Jr.'s just signed with WWE, so maybe we'll see. Like they were. Oh, that could have been really something really good. And this again, it's the yawn. Oh, right, it was an hour. It took me an hour for that yawn. But no, I think AEW squanders opportunities so often. I feel like they've become WWE in that regard. That's just me. Ciampa versus Gunther being on Raw is the main event is the result of Vince McMahon not being creative anymore going forward. I feel like they all do it, Vince and Triple H. I think I don't mind title matches being on Raw and SmackDown, no problem at all. But I think when you've just got a pay-per-view that isn't very stacked, and you then take a title match off it and just do it on Raw with a commercial break, that's not for me. I'd rather just do it on the pay-per-view, even if you do it on the bloody pre-show. I'd rather have that than it be on TV. Have a goddamn contract signing, or like, yeah, they did. And then had the match the same night, and that's not for me. That I will never be down with that. No matter who's booking it, Triple H or Vince, I'm never going to be down with that. We should listen to mashup songs between LA Knight and John Cena. Oh yeah, I'd go for that. Oh, here he is. On your knees, dog. Dun, dun. Right, let's kill that poll. What a pointless match that was. Banner. Zelina won that one by 57%. Interesting. Here he comes, big trips. AW did well. TK, move on. You have your own unique product. Oops, sorry. Fans need to support wrestling, period. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it is indeed. Like I live in a perpetual state of confusion around tribalism in wrestling. I can't understand why you'd go on an internet forum or a social media and attack other fans for being fans of another promotion that you're not a fan of. I don't get that. It blows my mind. I suppose it's because I'm a fan of both, and like even in the WCW, me and my friends, I know I've told you this before, but me and my friends, when we were kids, we'd go around one lad's house and we watch WWE, and then we'd probably go around another guy's house and we'd watch WCW. Not on the same night, but like that week, my point is we followed both promotions religiously, and then look, WCW Nitro did start getting a bit crap, and the Attitude Era did kick off and became very, very intense. So it's easy to agree with them, but when people started saying, "Oh, WCW's crap," why are you watching that? Like, they were kind of right, but we didn't really see it at the time. We didn't want to live in a world where we couldn't watch Stone Cold Steve Austin, but then watch Sting the next week, the next few days. And I'm like that now. I don't want to live in a world where I can't see Roman Reigns or MJF, or it's he's going for it, isn't he? Oh man, Bailey just had the one win. Sassy saying, "Hey, sometimes you have to get the kid out of your system." Speaking from therapist experience, completely agree. Bailey needed that win. Good thing she got it. Not acting like a toddler myself. What? Okay. Looks like that man was knighted by Endeavour. Yep. Thank God. Triple H, enjoy it while it lasts. I think now, Sassy, Vince can't do what he did last time. He can't do a hostile takeover, swerve the board to his side and swing his big veiny shares around. He can't do that anymore. Did that worry you? That worried YouTube. Because he has a boss. Endeavour own it now, and their word is law. So doesn't matter. Vince can have a tantrum in the corner if he wants. I'm fairly sure he knows what's coming, or within reason and stuff. It's all part of the show, yo. I have to disagree, Misfit. I think Endeavour did the right thing, the best thing for the company, and the best thing for everyone involved. Vince McMahon is not good at this anymore, from a creative point of view, and he's got some very, very serious allegations hanging over his head, and having him where they've had him has not been a good look for anybody. So Triple H needs to be the one running creative at least. Look, Vince is still very much part of the company, very much involved in the day-to-day stuff. Always Dirty Dom. But no, I don't want Vince McMahon anywhere near WWE creative. Nowhere near it. Ever again. For the rest of time. Endeavour are just... Oh, I know. Oh, well, fair enough. But I still don't think they screwed him over. I think they made a very, very sensible and measured business decision. I don't know if it was intended to be a screw over. It was just a case of, look, old man, we gave you your job back after your hostile takeover. We kept you on, but we're looking at the product, we're looking at the ratings, we're looking at everything that's going on, and we feel it would be more suitable for you to have an office job. Part of the transition, exactly. Yeah, and they're probably right. They're probably right too. I'm no expert in stocks and shares, but I mean, just objectively speaking, Triple H in charge of creative is the best thing for everyone. But look, I'm not opposed to Vince being with the company and being part of the big picture stuff, helping Endeavour with their transition of the company from public ownership to Endeavour's ownership. I think that makes a lot of sense. But we cannot forget those allegations hanging over Vince's head. And one way or another, that is going to get resolved one day, either through the courts or through not the courts. So, but right now, it's limbo. It's purgatory. That could go either way. All depends on the evidence and all depends on the truth. So we'll find out. Let's just see what I've missed. I like Bayley when she became a hugger girl. Yeah, but her turning heel and killing the Bayley buddies was a wicked moment. The Bayley buddies will come back to life one day, I think. Sassy, yes. I see what you did there, and I love it. I wish I'd thought of that. Oh my God. The poetic justice is just delicious, isn't it? What is going on here? Dom, don't you ever home? Go home. He's not. He doesn't live with his parents anymore, does he? And Mammy is shacked up with her fiance right now. So here he is. The guy's been calling all this commotion. I love Nick Aldis. By the way, guys, check out the WrestleSphere interview with Nick Aldis. It's just great. I think Dom gets about 3 words in. It's brilliant. It's the perfect interview because Nick just goes for it. It's amazing. I can't believe Nick Aldis is my age, Like, I still feel like a kid. And Nick Aldis is a big-ass man. You know what I mean? Oh, that face. He's so good, isn't he, Mysterio? He's so good. He's got this down to a T now. I want Dom to get more booed from WWE fans and make him get out the SmackDown ring because he doesn't deserve to be loved. Oh, but like, Dom's job right now is to make you hate him. And I think he's fantastic at doing that. He's one of the best heels in the game right now. Really is. I think Dom should go home where he belongs. Yeah, quit while you're ahead, Dom Dom. I like this. This is great. Big fan of Nick. Me too. And his wife, she's fantastic. I've interviewed Mickey James, just incredible. Between you and I, guys, I'm really hoping to have a chat with some Impact talent face to face in Coventry. I'm looking forward to that because they know I'm in the building, but I won't be the only journo in the building. So, but don't think I'm not going to be cheeky and be like, "Come on," I'm gonna be. Hunter said, "I always thought they pumped in the booze for Dom. I didn't know how loud they were." See, I've always been of the view that they haven't been pumping them in because WWE didn't write this storyline. The crowd started doing this organically, and they've leaned into it because it's money. It's brilliant. What a fantastic, um, like organic storyline it's become, and so simple. Just the crowd won't let him talk. It's brilliant. Two former NWA champions, 14-time WWE champions in the ring together. That's very true. Yeah. See, a lot of people slag off Nick Aldis. Oh, go on, Kev. Slag off his run as TNA champ. I kind of liked it, you know? I'm aware I'm in the minority. Mine did too, Misfit. So I don't know what's going on. Oh, it's back. Please let me Jade and beat up Dom. She's not a brand. Yes, indeed. Nick Aldis is indeed the husband of Mickey James. Oh, Roman. I do feel like now that they've got bloody Fastlane out of the way, I really wasn't happy with that. Again, it didn't do anything bad. It didn't do anything offensive. Just was just there, you know? I don't know. But I like this. There's a certain storyline on AEW I'm really not feeling at the moment. I feel like it's a bit crass and in bad taste. I'm not going to talk about it, but I get wrestling needs to build heat with heels and things, but I think some things should probably just stay out of it. Yeah, this Juice Robinson MJF storyline is I will be fast forwarding it because it's not for me. Let's put it that way. There are some things I don't like being touched by wrestling. I watch wrestling to escape things like that, not to be reminded of them. But anyway, it is indeed Nick Aldis, Huang. Good. KO gets a singles run, I hope. Yeah, I'd like that because I really like now that they've lost the tag team titles. I don't want to see Sami Zayn or Kevin Owens turn on each other again. We've seen it. We've done it. It cheapens it completely when they do that. So I'm glad they're not. Guys, I'm just going to go and get a quick cup of tea because I'm British and I can't go an hour without one. So do give me a moment. Okay. No, not a 30-second countdown. There it is. Won't be long. I am back, and I have tea. Aldis chatting to Charlotte. That's pretty cool. Blimey, 13 comments. God, you guys have been busy. Let's have a little look. Where are we? It's got cold in here. Yeah, Cody used to be on SmackDown, yeah. Thank you for joining us. Please respect the privacy and opinions of others who are in the chat. 100%. Okay, so just catching up with the comments, guys. Sassy's not watched NXT yet. It was a good episode. It was like, again, you know, the cynicism aside as to why they did what they did. The Undertaker thing was totally unnecessary, but at the same time, it was still good. It was fun, you know. Sorry, guys, just switching my heating on for half an hour because it's bloody freezing. If it works. I'm just reading what's going on. Huang, I'm just looking at the comments and it seems to be like you're the instigator. So just chill out and don't take everything literally. It looks to me like you've misunderstood something. But anyway, moving on. This is another one. I have my 5-minute ban, my button, and I ain't afraid to use it. And I really don't want to do that again. So come on now. But when you're doing just that alone, that isn't it, saying I'm respecting everyone and then not doing so is the problem. He answered your question. You should thank him. As a moderator, I have to be here for everyone. And answer your question, apologize or leave. It's not cool. There we go. Thank you. Sassy nailed it. There we go. Right. Good. We got there in the end. Brilliant. Wasn't it Vince who hated the idea of general managers? Yeah, he wasn't a fan, was he? Here's Cody. Okay, Huang, maybe just stop talking to Mark, perhaps. That seems to be the obvious solution here, to me. I mean, we're about to have a tag match, so come on. Ah, misfit, thank God. Triple H had Regal as NXT GM. You see him on the show every week. He showed up when it mattered. Yeah, see, that's one of the best examples of being a GM. William Regal on NXT. God, do I miss that. Because I know he's back with the company, but it just doesn't make sense to go down the same road now, does it? You know? Although, Patty. Do you know what I loved when Regal recruited Samoa Joe to be his enforcer? That was awesome. I wish they had done more with that, you know? In fact, I'm going to do the poll now. Well, we've got a bit of time, you know? So, who wins? Yay. Can't spell tonight. Jey Uso. Who are they wrestling? I'm tired. Who are they wrestling? I've got like a 4-minute wait now, don't I? Because of the ads. From my point of view, Huang, I don't think he is. I think he's just asking you to stop talking to him. If there's one more comment about this, there'll be a 5-minute ban from anyone. One more. I'm done with it. Grayson and Theory. Thank you, Misfit. Okay. Grayson and Theory. Boom. There we go. And I will do a banner. Wang, stop. Stop. Just stop. Forget it. Let it go. There we go. Okay. Brand. Let's do a banner. While the ads are on. Why am I watching like bearded women on a Curry's ad? What the hell? Commercials are the weirdest things ever. Oh, let's go with that. So Cody Rhodes, Cody J. This is I don't know if you guys can hear my cat. He's going mental out there because he wants to come in. But I'm not going to let him in because he's just going to jump around. I'll let him in when the stream is over. I'll let him in because he wants to sleep on this chair. He wants me out of it. That's what's going on. It's quite funny. Team Yeet. I've told you, Mister. I'm too old to say the word Yeet. Again, I'm 36. In a few weeks, I've got no place saying words like Yeet. Do you think they're ever going to make one tag team belt? Split them up again. Well, word on the street is they are, yeah. Because it's getting a bit awkward, isn't it? I mean, like either unify them and create a new design, or split them up now. This has been going on for about a year now. Like they keep calling them the undisputed, but they're not undisputed. It's just the Raw and the SmackDown ones together. So, which one is it? You know what I mean? No, but I mean in general conversation. I'm quoting. I agree. Well, yeah. I mean, it's got to the point where it does look a bit daft, you know. Like, I just think it. I personally want to see a new design that unifies both. I don't think we need two sets of tag team champs. I don't mind it. I don't mind it having one on NXT and then one on the main roster. I think that works. But it's just a bit clunky now, isn't it? You know, the pop for Charlotte and Jade was big. Yeah, I think I was making a cup of tea, wasn't I? To be fair, how many did Kurt carry at once in Impact? Yes, there was a few. There's been a few belt collectors, and Kenny Omega did a belt collector gimmick for a bit, didn't he? The Impact belt being one. I'll tell you what, I've held the Impact World Championship when I spoke to Josh Alexander when he was holding it. And I said to Josh, I said to Josh at the time, I said, do you mind if I hold it? It's the only chance I'm ever going to get to hold a world championship. And he said, yeah, and bloody hell, it was heavy. It was a lot heavier than it looked. Like, I've held replica belts loads of times, and they are not as heavy as the real thing. I promise you that now. That Impact belt was heavy as hell. It was cool though. It felt right holding it. I remember saying to him, "I'm going to run off with it, but I'm fairly confident you'd catch me and put me in an ankle lock." So which popped him. I made Josh Alexander laugh, and I really hope he regains that belt from Alex Shelley. It sounds awful, but you know, we need to right that wrong. Not the wrong isn't Shelley holding it. The wrong is Alexander had to let it go. So, and I kind of like how they're kind of making Shelley a bit heelish in this feud because he's feeling a bit insecure about Alexander being back. It's great. Good TV, good storytelling. I'm all over it. One single belt for both Raw and SmackDown would carry a lot more prestige. Yeah, they could do that. I'm just kind of thinking. Yeah, I'm kind of just thinking maybe. Do you know what they've done like with Romans? They've kind of like just made it. I know those were never technically brand specific; they could float around, but let's just have the WWE Undisputed Tag Team Champions. Let's just have that, and with no mention of Raw or SmackDown. Let's just do it that way. I don't think it's needed. I kind of like what AEW do with the TNT and the TBS. I think that's quite smart. But what if they ever went to a different network? I know it's unlikely at this stage of the world, but it's not completely without. It's a privately owned company, so it's not completely out of the realms of possibility. Jey Uso is fantastic, isn't it? It's super weird Hunter being a super face on screen boss. Yeah. Do you know when it was really weird is when he was kind of like being Uncle Paul in NXT, but then the dickhead leader of the Authority on the main roster. Do you remember that? That's when it started getting a bit uncomfortable. When he was shouting, "Have a nice day" in Mick Foley's face. And then going and being Uncle Paul over on NXT, it was like, hang on, like hugging Asuka and stuff. I was like, wait a minute, you were being a right douche to on TV the other day. I actually really it outstayed its welcome, but I was a big fan of the Authority story when they did that. Just want WWE to take tag wrestling seriously. Yeah, I think they have been for a while. I think with the Usos as the champs, and then the whole thing with Sammy and Kevin, and then Judgment Day. Now this, I'm happy with the champions they've had, but the whole dual belts thing is becoming a bit awkward. That needs to change. Like if you have to split them again, split them again. But I personally think the belts will have a lot more prestige if there's just one set of belts, one set of champs. I'm not opposed to them making trios championship, but maybe it'd be something good for NXT. Oh, second yawn. Counting on Triple H did the right thing. Yeah, me too. Aldous has already changed his bio on Twitter. Lol. Good. I bet he's been itching to do that. You know, when you like start a new position somewhere or something, start a new job and you're like, you can't say anything to a certain point out of respect for either your former employees or employers or whatever. You got to kind of you have that period of no man's land. Nick to Dom, I'm a big fan of your dad. Yeah, it's a great line from Nick. Yeah. It's weird to think they were both on the original All In card together, weren't they? Oh, Nick Yard. Nick Aldis obviously wrestling Cody Rhodes for the NWA Championship, and Rey Mysterio was in the main event against the Young Bucks, teaming with I think Bandido, etc. So there, fun fact. So News Now, Tammy Linlin says, "Hi all, hi News Now, Tammy Linlin. I'm going to call you Tammy. Is that all right? I think that's less of a mouthful. Sassy saying, love that line. Love Dom's clueless face. Yeah, he's very good at doing the angry, gormless, confused face, isn't he? WWE currently has 7 former NWA World Champions. I'll take it. I'm game. Oh, that's fine. So, Tammy, you are now officially Tammy. Like, you even want 2 Lyns. That's just greedy. My mother-in-law is called Lynn. She only has 1 Lynn, though, in her name. Getting some MMA. Oh, no. It's not MMA, this. It's, I'm getting a boxing commercial. I've got him yawning. It's annoying, isn't it? It never stops. There we go. At least I went an hour without yawning. That never happens, does it? Again, if you're new here and you're joining us, it's 2:30 in the morning in the UK right now, and we only have the one time zone, so everyone's in bed apart from crazy people like me who stay up late to watch wrestling and do it online on the internet. When you say that out loud, the bit of objectivity, it sounds bizarre. Hang on. If this isn't the main event, is it? I wonder what they do for the main event. Misfit, do you know? Because I've not been paying attention. The name was a bet to make my sister mad. I am really a guy. You're Tammy forever now, I'm afraid, Tammy. Like, but that's what happens. Although, to be fair, like, I don't even know Misfit's real name, and I actually don't want to. I think on your wedding day, Misfit, you will be. Do you, Misfit, take this person to be your lawfully wedded, whatever? Yeah. As far as I'm concerned, you came out the womb, and she went, and your mum went, "Ah, my little Misfit," or it says it on your birth certificate, school when you were doing the register, in class. Elementary school, and your teacher goes, "Misfit, here, miss." There you go. He's not biting. He's like, at least my name isn't Sam Smith. Get an original name. Imagine Chelsea Green and Nick. Bits backstage on to before we mentioned Mickey. Oh yeah. Are they going to do that though? This is WWE. You know what they're like. I think you can mention Nikki by name, I'd say. I know she's having another run in Impact at the moment, isn't she? But she does pop up for the Royal Rumbles quite a lot, doesn't she? So she's like 1 foot in the door, doesn't she? Like, it was awesome when she appeared at the Royal Rumble with the Impact belt. That was wicked. I was such a fan of that. That's what I like about the Triple H era. It's the fact that, like, even the other day, Michael Cole mentioned Bullet Club at the pay-per-view. Like, what? I mean, all right, he got his facts wrong, saying Cody was the leader of the Bullet Club. No, Cody tried to become the leader of the Bullet Club, and Kenny Omega slapped him down again. That is what happened. But it didn't really matter because the firing squad then kicked them all out, and we had the civil war between the Elite and the OGs. So, but I get what Michael Cole was saying, but technically no. Finn Balor is forever the Rock and Roller. I'm very confused with what's going on with Bullet Club at the moment. I don't know this whole Bullet Club Gold thing. Whose side of the Impact guys on? It's all gone a bit skewed. Are Gallows and Anderson officially out again because they work for WWE again? It's. I feel like Bullet Club has either had its day or things need to be addressed better. Exactly. Kenny was the leader. I know Cody won that first match, didn't he? But then Kenny won the next match. But I always just assumed, like, when I was watching it during that story, I thought that the big, like, obviously we suspected for ages, didn't we, that Cody was trying to take over and supplant Kenny. And he kept on going, Bullet Club is fine, which is brilliant, by the way. And then that one day he went, Bullet Club is mine. But yeah, I always felt like it was a bit of a return of the Adam Cole story a little bit, where Cole obviously made a play for leadership, didn't he? Although I often felt it was more to get the Bucks to join him and not join Kenny. I always kind of felt like it was more around that. But yeah, Cody never became leader, did he? You know, he tried and failed. He tried to lead his coup, but he did the right thing in the end, didn't he? When he hit Tama Tonga with the chair. It was good storytelling. That I was down for it. Do the same with Killer Cross. Main event must be Knight versus Solo. Yes, sorry, you're right. I'd forgotten about that because it was an hour and a half ago. Oh, yawning. Yeah, you thought Vince was trying to kiss ass there. Sorry, wouldn't it be funny if Cody is a wrestler on Raw and SmackDown, but GM on NXT? Oh no, it'd be too much Cody. I don't know. I think too much Cody. There is such a thing as too much Cody. What I want to see is Cody be a tag team champ for a while. The story to evolve, the story to move on. They lose these belts or something, and eventually Cody kind of go back to this guy. Oh, yeah, like Cody does need reining in at times. I think he fits quite well in WWE at the moment because there are checks and balances. Do you know what I mean? I think with AEW things got a little bit too well. There were too many Caesars, weren't there? Oh, Cody and Roman are face to face again. Not seen this for a while. Oh, this is amazing. Oh, Aldis, don't get in the way of them. See, I now believe the story I've heard about Aldis. I'm just fantasy booking in my head, you know? Oh, I know. Like, wasn't that amazing? I can't wait to watch that again. Oh, it's Solo. Never mind. Oh, no, we saw it. No, never mind. This is what I mean about just let it wash over you. This is what I mean. Chavo said Zac Efron got huge for a Von Erich movie. Like he's proper jacked. He was a big lad even before that. One of Efron's been, even in what was that movie with what's he bloody called? Seth Rogen. He was bloody huge in that. But yeah, I think that's awesome. I'm glad that Efron's doing that. Is it me or is there a lot of cool like wrestling TV shows and movies happening at the moment? I feel like it's coming back into the public consciousness in slowly but surely in a really cool kind of way. How are we going to get to Cody Roman 2? Well, I think there's several paths they can take. I think I'm going to ask you guys to give me yours because I kind of think I know where they're going, but it's all very, very rough. I'm more confident where they're going with Roman. I think I can quite accurately predict the beats of that story. I couldn't tell you when and at what pay-per-view and blah blah blah, but I think the Chamber is a great shout because I don't like the idea of him winning the Royal Rumble again. I know people have done it 2 years in a row before, but I love the idea of someone eliminating him, of maybe Roman going out of his way to ensure Cody is eliminated so it can't happen again. That'd be great. But then Cody going through the Chamber and fighting his way through that. I'd be like, you can't eliminate me from that without pinning or submitting me. So you can't just throw me over a top rope there. But I do like the idea of people ganging up on Cody in the Chamber. But maybe there being a wild card in there like Brock Lesnar. And it might be fun to see the obviously Lesnar making Cody earn his respect. If that is the payoff in the chamber, let's say Brock Lesnar is in the elimination chamber, and that's the time when he really, really does defend Cody and help him go after Roman, that would be really good storytelling. That would be very good long-term booking, and it would give us much more of a payoff to the Roman and Brock feud than we got. Although I like the payoff that we got, I thought it was subtle and well done. But that would be good. That's just one idea. There's so many different routes they can take with this. And I trust Triple H to get us there. Yeah, I do too, Sassy, completely. Roman was played out a year ago. Now he's getting old. Well, that's actually a really good point because I think he's hotter than ever. But they do need to start now teasing a little bit of weakness and start to have the cracks show. But ultimately, Roman needs to lose his belt at Mania to Cody. But the important story here, the more important thing than Cody finishing his own story and doing that, is the bloodline one by one abandoning him. Roman needs to be on his own, isolated, alone. And the moral of the story needs to be, which is what it's always been, that brotherhood. It's about brotherhood. It's about acceptance. It's about bullies not winning. It's why they did the whole Sami Zayn storyline, the Usos thing. This is all gearing up to a bully being alone with no friends and then taken down. That's what this has to go to for it to reach the arc of the story to reach its conclusion, you know? Can't you tell I'm a writer? I think Jay should eliminate him. That's a cracking shout. Yeah. Yeah. I've always said I love the idea of Solo being the last one to turn on Roman, but maybe doing it at Mania itself. Maybe Roman gets in his face, bullies him, berates him, shouts at him. And while the referee's down and the baby faces, or Cody's like down on the floor, or whatever's happened, for Solo just to lose his temper, Samoan spike Roman and leave. And for the Usos, the reunited Usos, and maybe Sammy with them as well, the former members of the bloodline all together, just being on the ramp together, reunited. The main difference, not affiliated with Roman anymore. The Usos have got their little brother back. These four people who shouldn't be at odds with each other are no longer at odds with each other. Roman's alone. No one to help him cheat. No one to help him win. He's just been Samoan spiked. He's vulnerable. Cody moves in for the kill. But I do think Cody should try and pin him after that Samoan spike, but Roman to kick out because Cody needs to win cleanly and definitively, not with help from Solo. Or if they did do that, it would cheapen the win. But they could do that. That'd give Roman opportunity to get a rematch. Lots of things they could do. The reason I think Chamber is Gunther to win the Rumble. Oh, no, I like that. The only thing is, with Gunther winning the Rumble, that'll throw him into the main title picture. But it's a good shout, isn't it? It could happen. He could go after Seth, couldn't he? But I kind of like the idea of him losing the IC at Mania. But again, if you got Roman losing the big one, Gunther losing the IC might be a bit much. I actually would like the idea of Gunther to still have the IC at Mania and maybe retain, lose it at SummerSlam. Just my thought. How did Cody get taller than Reigns? Did he have a great growth spurt? Is the whole hope for my short ass? I've got two pieces of news for you there, observing stuff. Thanks for joining us, by the way. The first piece of news is, it depends how old you are, but more than likely, yes, it is too late for your short ass, just like it is too late for my short ass, because I'm only 5'9". But I think Cody's always been taller than Roman, but you forget because Roman's the big dog, And then when Cody beats Roman, KO is right there. Oh, yeah, I like that. That's one way of doing it. If that doesn't tell you they're doing Cody Roman WrestleMania 40, I don't know what will tell you. Yeah, I think you're right. I think that What do you reckon? I think they're gauging our reaction, but considering we all popped, I think it's a good one. Hope Cody wins the belt from Roman. I think you're going to get your wish, Tammy. Observing stuff and sassy, exchanging pleasantries. I want Solo to win the Rumble. Who do I want to win it? I think whoever wins it is going after Seth. I love the idea of Roman doing something to kind of stick his foot in the door of somebody. And then Cody to go through the chamber. A bit like John Cena's storyline when he was trying to get to WrestleMania and then he lost everything, but Cody actually does it this time. That'd be good. But I love the idea, because what's been great about this Roman story is all the people Roman has offended and wronged along the way. And I do think some of those things need to come back and haunt him, be it the stipulation against Brock Lesnar, which is still active, be it Drew McIntyre, who was ruthlessly screwed out of winning at Clash at the Castle. I think there's got to be some resolution for that, because they still discuss it. Cody, obviously, Jey Uso, of course, Sami Zayn. I think even maybe Finn Balor, whose star is rising. I think all these different people who've had a crack at Roman and come up short for whatever reason, usually because of Roman was cheating. I love for each of them to lay a brick in Roman's downfall one way or another. I think that'd be great storytelling. They have done it before with other important reigns. If I think back to the old days, but they've got a really good opportunity here to do some great long-term storytelling, and I think they can. Watching wrestling with my fam, yeah, you are. Tammy says, I don't like Solo. He needs to quit riding Rikishi's coattails. You think? I don't know. It is his dad. I like that he's this little silent, intense version of an Uso. I love that. I remember when he popped up in NXT for the first time, I was like, oh my God, get this guy in the bloodline. And become his own man. But I think, though, Tammy, that kind of plays into the story, because right now, he's Roman's minion, isn't it? Isn't it? You know, he's not his own man. And it makes good storyline sense for him not to be his own man. But the day he turns on Roman, that is the day he can be his own man. So that's something to consider. So this might actually be deliberate. And if you are drawing a connection to Rikishi, who knows? Maybe that's deliberate. Maybe that's something I've overlooked. Because all I see is a meat suit that Roman is controlling right now. I'm not convinced Gunther's winning the Rumble. I think the only reason I'm not, I think if he wasn't already holding the IC, he'd be a shoo-in. But because he's got the IC, I'm actually quite excited to see where they're going to go with the Rumble. Maybe LA Knight. LA Knight would be a good shout, but I'm fairly confident they had factored in the winner of the Royal Rumble before LA Knight caught fire, quite like he has. But let's imagine for a moment anything they were planning on giving Bray Wyatt in terms of a push, with obviously Bray tragically no longer being with us. A lot of their long-term storytelling has sadly died with Bray. So I don't want to sound like, you know, people jumping into his casket, but I mean, like, WWE will have had to have rewritten and restructured a lot of things after losing Bray, because there were big plans for him coming back. So someone's got to fill Bray's shoes, really. And I think they struggled factoring LA Knight into their long-term booking, didn't they, when he caught fire? And that might not be so difficult now. I know it's a terrible thing to consider, but in terms of how spots work in wrestling, you sort of have to. So let's imagine they planned for Bray to win the Rumble. Not that they needed to, but they could now give that spot potentially to LA Knight. You know, my point is that they'll be reshuffling a lot, moving a lot of chess pieces now. And that means, I suppose, opportunities for people like LA Knight who were previously not as factored in as some of the audience would have liked them to be. Winning the Rumble would allow him to be his own man. Yeah, it would, but I think by the time we get to the Rumble, I still think Solo will be Roman's bitch. You know, I think what the thing, the dramatic effect, Solo needs to come into his own in a similar way to Sami Zayn. You know, when Sami Zayn turned on Roman and did the right thing. I think just winning the Rumble, for starters, I don't think he's a big enough star yet. And secondly, I think Solo needs to come to the decision to say, nah, screw you, Roman. That needs to be his moment of emerging from his cocoon and becoming a butterfly and becoming his own man. And I do actually like the idea then of him saying to his brothers, look, you're my brothers and everything, but I'm not riding with you as part of the bloodline anymore. Now I'm going to go and do my own thing. I'm going to go and chase the IC Championship. I'm going to go and chase the United States Championship. Go after Gunther if he's still holding the IC. Something, you know what I mean? Something like that. That's what I think they need to do with Solo. Let him see the light, then chase his own prize. Don't just give him something nebulous. Observing stuff. Guess I'm stuck at 5'7", 5'9" isn't that bad. And no, I think Reigns is taller than Cody. Is he? Google it. Let's find out. Because I've always thought Cody was quite tall. I know Roman's a big dude, but even so. Sassy, till he quits trying to be his daddy, he will not be his own man. Hate to say it. Well, I've told you my fantasy booking. Here we go. Yeah, Roman is 6'3". I thought he was taller. Cody is 6'1". Both tall dudes. I'm 29. I'm not growing no more. Oh no, mate, you're screwed. It's over for you, growth wise. When you get to 30, you're only growing one direction, and it ain't up. That's also assuming Rollins is still a champion going into Mania. Yeah, that's what I mean. Because I think I'm not hugely high on his title reign. I think he's great. There's just something isn't gelling with me. I don't know what it is. I think I sometimes struggle with babyface champs. Sometimes. I don't know. I feel like once the chase is over, it gets a bit dull. Like Sammy's case in point, Sammy and Kevin. Remember? Like, great chase. Once they got the belts, once we were all over the yay! And taking it off them just felt like a bit of a flop, didn't it? You know? That cup of tea's actually gone cold because I've been yakking away. Agree, Tammy. Winning the Rumble will allow him to be his own man. Just choose his path. I agree with Misfit. I don't think Solo's ready for such an accolade. I think storytelling is more important than winning big pay-per-view matches. I think. Like, where do you go from there? Like, Solo is tied up in the Bloodline story until the Bloodline story doesn't exist anymore. And that won't be until at least WrestleMania. At least. But like they will do, like they haven't called up Solo. They've had him. The whole point of this story is him being Roman's minion, but they can't do that forever. Oh man, I didn't do a poll, Hassan. I'm doing a poll now. Cody and Jay won that last one by 100%. By the way, let's do it now. Start a poll. Who wins? 5 minutes to go. 5 minutes. Solo. Yeah. I don't know. Can't say his name without doing it. Yeah. Just can't be done. Okay. Let's do one final banner. I don't think they thought LA Knight would catch fire like he did. You're absolutely right. They didn't. It wasn't part of the plan, was it? But I think now, now we're a top baby face down. Very, very unfortunately, at least that was the plan for Bray. They will have to reposition a few people. And Cena's here, taking out the interference. He interfered with the interference. Love it. Yeah, don't turn your back on your opponent, Solo. That's very silly. Yep, Solo's not ready to win the Rumble, guys. LA Knight just showed him who's boss. Exactly. Solo needs to be involved with whatever Roman is doing at Mania, yeah. I've said it before, and I'll say it again. Roman's story needs to end with him alone. No bloodline. He needs to be... Cody already told us the ending of this story. A tribal chief without a tribe. The head of an empty table. We already know where this is going. Roman alone. Roman vulnerable. No one to watch his back. Yeah, that's what I think anyway. Oh, hello. Did Roman just take out LA Knight? Sick. Wow, he is elevated already. You know what I mean? He's gone from struggling to don't threaten Charles Robinson, you big git. Roman was such a good heel at Money in the Bank, by the way. I was quite close to the front. So when the crowd were going, sit down, if stand up, if you hate Roman, he sat down on the apron, and then when they went stand up, he was like going. It was so good. Mark saying, I personally think Solo turns on Roman either at or before Mania. Yeah, I actually think, I think you're right. It could be just before, it could be, but I love the idea of it injecting some drama into the show and Solo doing it there, and that being like the final piece of the puzzle, for taking him down. Again, that's just me. What I think would be good, but they could always go another way. Of course, they could. Okay, just log out of this one. I don't think they thought of yet. Again, they're setting up LA Knight for Roman at Crown Jewel. I don't think they are going to give him the Rumble. Yeah, maybe. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know what they're doing for the Rumble yet. Again, I think I'm clued in for Mania. I think it's not a case of knowing what's going to happen. It's a case of understanding the narrative of this whole thing. And in terms of dramatic sense, in terms of storyline, remember, booking and writing story are two very different things. But in terms of as a guy who writes fiction, the narrative direction of this, taking into account the themes and the characters, and each individual arc everybody is on, it does kind of make sense for it to be this Mania, for it to be Cody taking it off Roman, and for the Usos, Sami Zayn, Solo, everyone to be involved in some way. But there also has to be some wild cards. It can't be that predictable. There's also got to be some tragedy in the triumph as well, Like the Kevin Owens thing is actually a really good shout, because that could be it. And let's not forget, a certain beast is let out of his cage once Roman loses those belts. That stipulation no longer matters when Roman no longer holds those belts. Tammy says, I quit growing at 18. I'm now 46. I'm growing outward. That's the way it goes, mate. That's why I bust my ass in the gym so much to stop it from happening. If I didn't do that and walk my dog like I do, I'd be an absolute balloon. I miss Fitz tiptoeing because he knows I rant and rave about CM Punk these days. I'm not saying he's coming back, but if Punk returns at the Rumble, he's winning it. and facing Rollins at Mania. Now, yeah, that might be the time. Like, I still think they're not going to take the risk because they just don't need to. But that's good booking. That'd be one way you could do it. Although I think Rollins would rather crap in his hands and clap than do that. All the money talks. This is the question, isn't it, Sassy? Again, I'm not going to say too much about it, but I think WWE have taken a look at this and they've gone, like, what's the benefit for us? Yes, he's a big star. What's the risk? Look at all the trouble he's caused last time he was here. Not all his fault, to be fair. Look at all the trouble that's happened in AEW. Not all his fault, to be fair. But he lost any moral high ground he might have had at All In. That's the problem I've got. And I don't see him coming back from it. I don't see how you ever come back from attacking a work colleague because they disagreed with you and were rude to you. I mean, imagine you did that in your place of work. Just because their place of work is a company that does simulated violence doesn't change a goddamn thing. It's exactly the same as you choking out somebody at work. So if I could see Cody winning against Roman and then LA Knight turn heel and win the title from Cody. I mean, does Senor Money in the Bank still have his briefcase by that point? Like, I know he's not quite on the same level as the people we're talking about, but he holds the briefcase. And I like that they're giving him a long time to hold it as well. It's good. It's all about the mighty dollar for WWE when it comes to CM Punk. See, I don't think it is. I like, we thought he was coming at Survivor Series. He's now not. So I think WWE have located their soul. And at the same time, it's also a case of, do you hire someone who's known to be difficult backstage? Something like, and if everything's all right in WWE at the moment, if WWE is ticking over just fine, why would you take such a huge risk? You've already got your big stars. You've already got all of this stuff. Like, and we just know it's going to end in tears because it always does with this character. He might as well be Austin Aries and Ryback now. He might as well be that, as far as I'm concerned. That's just me. This time around, he won't be able to pull. No, he won't, because he's probably not going there. Let's not forget, he might go back there one day, but I wouldn't anyone hold your breath. I think WWE have looked him up and down and gone, nah. Which is exactly what I would do if I was an employer. He's just not worth it. But that's different. It wasn't that they allowed it so much. It was he did a bit of a hostile takeover because he was the majority shareholder. He then created a deal where, in order to sell it, he was required to be part of the transition. He has that now, but now Endeavour are getting a little bit of buyer's remorse. They're realizing that where Vince is indeed a savvy business person and understands the intricacies of the company from a creative point of view, he's not very good at it. So they need to get him away from that. CM Punk is just an employee, just a contractor. And we've got to, like, because I'm a CM Punk fan, but we've got to turn off our fandom for a moment and look at the man, Phil Brooks, the man. This doesn't make him happy. It just doesn't. He's very good at doing it, but he's not a person who enjoys being around people in these environments. He still lives in a he has a very different mentality. He has a bit of a messiah complex, from what I can see, and is a violent man who, when he doesn't get his own way, has violent temper tantrums. Now, I don't think the elite are perfect people. I think they didn't like him. They probably felt a little bit frustrated about their spots. You know, things like that. But I ultimately, I think the guy is just a nightmare. I wouldn't want to manage him. And let's not forget, if he's see, I disagree because I have to disagree with that. Now, if we'll see it Survivor Series, yeah, observing stuff's dead right here. Great as a wrestler, problematic in real life. The issue you've got, Misfit, is he's known to have assaulted a colleague backstage, and there's no point saying, "Oh yeah, well Bret Hart wants to hit Vince." I mean, different world, a long time ago. And they did not say no to Punk because talks haven't happened. No, but what they no. Well, actually, talks have happened. So, like the preliminary talks, of course they have. Not necessarily formally, but WWE have rejected CM Punk. That is now the story. Like, I know you had your heart set on him returning but that's because you're a fan of his. I'm a fan of his, but you've got to be objective and you've got to think from a company point of view. But what does define talks? Like, have both parties sat down with their lawyers and their agents? No, that's probably not happened. But in terms of WWE would have been discussing CM Punk the day he was released from AEW, the day. And CM Punk has made it clear. Now, this is true. CM Punk has made it clear that he does want to return there. So he has not made that clear publicly, but it is common knowledge. It's I don't know what they're saying on Reddit or wherever else, but that my point is, I get if you're a fan and him coming back to WWE is wishful thinking, but that's all it is right now. There is no evidence to suggest he's coming. No, nothing tangible for us to hang our hats on and say he's coming back to WWE. In fact, we've got the opposite of that. We've got report, and I know it's from Meltzer, and I'm the first person to say stop reading dirt sheets, but the guy's a legal liability. He's, and we can't really compare him to Vince because Vince used to own the company. So CM Punk is just a wrestler. Like Austin Aries is a superb wrestler, brilliant, but nobody wants him in their locker rooms. I think CM Punk is done, guys. I think he's done. Absolutely right. Nobody knows 100%, but if you're getting your hopes up about that, my advice would be don't. And also, I'm saying this now, and I've said this to all my friends as well. I will think less of anybody who cheers or is happy when CM Punk returns. If CM Punk ever returns, I will think less of those individuals because you're basically saying workplace violence is okay. That is my point of view, and that is exactly what WWE will be thinking right now. That's true. Yeah. Yeah, no, that is true. They are kind of making a rod for their own back there. Oh yeah, Cody's one of the best heels in the business when he goes for it. But yeah, so that's again, I'm not going to do any more discussions of CM Punk because, quite frankly, as far as I'm concerned now, he no longer exists until he exists again, and if he never comes back, he never comes back. And to be fair, I don't know if I'm going to watch any show that he's on because I feel that strongly now about. I feel like he crossed the Rubicon at All In. To be fair, he crossed it at All Out, but there was some deniability there. There was some Imagine going through all of that, getting back to the company, getting Collision, getting everything you want, then doing it again. There has to be something wrong with you. There just does. I think he needs to seek some professional help and do what makes him happy, because it ain't wrestling. I think that's obvious, isn't it? Like, do you remember when he came back to AW and we were all happy? When he came to AW and he cut a promo about WWE being the place that made him sick. He now wants to go back to the place that made him sick and bitch about the other place. This isn't working. This is something's wrong here. Can't we see it? Yeah, there are. Yeah. Zelina, it did indeed. There are others who've said they want him too. Then there are others who've called him cancer. Get your head around the word cancer, what it means, what it is. And people have said that. They've said it flippantly. But if you're working, like some people have said Rollins was, is cancer the word you use? I don't think so. I just don't. I wouldn't bet money on it, because WWE have been known to do the wrong thing, and certainly the morally wrong thing in the past. But I think right now we're in a very different age, and simply if WWE needed CM Punk, then yeah, I can see it happening. But the reality is they don't. They just don't need him. They've got plenty of people. That's very true. But again, like I said with the whole Brett thing before, different universe, different world. I still think they'll release DVDs about CM Punk, maybe even documentaries. They'll talk about him. He's an important part of wrestling history. But the man is too problematic, and you know. The thing with Ultimate Warrior was he was a racist piece of crap, but he was a prima donna. He wasn't a thug with a messiah complex. He was a bad dude, in my opinion. I've never been a fan of his, but I don't know if CM Punk is a bad dude. He's just a complete legal liability. And again, I'm going to go back to what I said earlier. Try and take off the hat, the fan hat, and look at it objectively. It's about look at it objectively. Don't look at it through the lens of, I want him to come back. Look at it of the lens of what is the likelihood. Separate your desires from... Because I'm a CM Punk fan. When he came back, after 7 years, I cheered. I was so happy. Loved it. Loved everything about it. I was even Team Punk over the Elite for a long time, secretly. Then after Brawl Out, I was disappointed in all of them. Then the Elite came back. It took me a while before I could sit through all of their matches. Then Punk came back, and that healed everything for me a little bit, because I thought, right, we have a second chance now. We have Collision, we have Dynamite. It's not ideal, it's not perfect, but we have a second chance. You know, let's not mess it up. It took just a couple of months for him to be involved in a violent incident backstage again. Is Jungle Boy a pain in the arse? I mean, yeah, probably. Was he out of order as well? Yeah, probably. Did he go into business for himself, and did he deserve a bit of a slap? Yeah, probably. But you don't do it. Doesn't matter how rude he is backstage to you. Doesn't matter if he shoves past you and dares you to hit him, or doesn't matter if he's working on behalf of other people who probably may or may not have manipulated him into doing that, which is what some people say. I don't know if there's any evidence for that, but it doesn't matter what the circumstances are. He shouldn't have done it. And Tony Khan fired him after an investigation because he deserved to be fired. Because the events, objectively, he was a thug. He was maybe even a criminal. Again, You strangle me in a workplace. Yeah, maybe I would press charges against you. So this is where we are. So now that is what WWE is looking at. That situation I just described is what WWE are looking at. So it doesn't matter whether you're a fan or not. That's what they've got to assess. And for anybody who says, "Oh, we can't do that in WWE. It's a different situation, a different world." No. Don't be so naive. Remember how he left the company the first time. Remember what he said about the company when he joined AEW. Everyone's very, very keen to forget the "they got me sick in the first place" promo. The first promo he cut when he joined AEW. Go back and watch that. There's no returning to the company even after cutting that promo. Like, yeah, money talks, but plus that, with everything that happened at All Out and All In, and you've got a guy who should probably never work in wrestling again and might need to admit to himself that he doesn't enjoy it anymore. And I've gone from being a guy who was happy to see him come back twice to a guy who's so fatigued with his drama, even though it's not completely his fault, that even I don't want to see him anymore. But I am a fan who feels let down by him. I'm not in his cult of personality. I just think he's a thug. And I don't think he gives a crap about any fan. I know Triple H was working when he cut that promo against him in WWE, but I think there's a lot of truth to that. I think CM Punk is a hypocrite. I think CM Punk is only out for himself, his own aggrandizement, and I don't think he's anywhere near as good and as a valued property as people say he is. You know, and he should probably have stayed retired because it's been a complete disaster. He's left the industry in a worse place than where he left it. There you go. That's my monologue over. And I will see you next week. I don't know what's going on with Hull Yeah Hangout on Sunday. Either I bored you all to sleep or you're all wrapped. I don't know which one it is. I don't know if Dan will be back on Monday, but we'll figure something out anyway. So, but yeah, thank you for joining me tonight. And yeah, I should be back next Friday. Anyway, so look, Sassy didn't fall asleep observing stuff says peace. Yeah. Oh god, I can't believe I just did that on the internet. But yeah, again, that's all. Everything I just said there was. Say again, based on Tony Khan has been on Twitter. Punk might have been right on AW's locker room. I don't quite understand the comment, in truth. Oh, do you mean with them being clicky and a pain in the ass? Yeah, absolutely. I think they're clicky and a pain in the ass. But unfortunately, that doesn't make what you did okay. And everything I said before a minute ago stands, I'm afraid. I don't care if they were the absolute worst locker room in the world, annoying, disgusting, clicky, psychological bullies, whatever they were. You don't do what he did in a civilized society. And that is the end of it. I'm sorry. And if my favourite wrestler did that as well, I swear to God, I'd be the first person pointing fingers on. And, you know, Kenny Omega was one of my favourite wrestlers before Brawl Out. I've struggled with him ever since that because I struggle supporting artists and performers who've let me down. Does that make sense? Now, I have to be objective with it because of what I do for a job, but I'm a fan too. And when the people I consider role models break my heart, that lets me down. And CM Punk is not worth my admiration. Just, he's not. I'm not so sure if the elite are either, but any moral high ground Phil Brooks may have ever had, he lost in London. Simple as that. I don't want to see him in WWE. And I'm a guy who cheered for him when he came back twice. So there you go. Objectivity is what matters, not how we feel, I think. But anyway, Why does talking about CM Punk always lower any conversation and make everything negative? The guy is a cancer. Wrestling is supposed to be fun. The drama is supposed to be fake. It's supposed to be predetermined. It's not meant to be stressful. It's meant to be something we use as escapism, where athletics meets storytelling, where theatre meets simulated combat sport. And we don't need the Rybacks, the Austin Aries, the CM Punks, and anybody who would drag this down. I don't think. And that goes for any other wrestler or anyone involved in it who might do that. And I'm really going to stop this soliloquy now and go to bed. Right, okay, guys. See you in a bit. Thank you for joining me. We'll see you soon. Hull yeah and all that. Let's have an outro from somebody while I'm doing this weird hand crap, which I'm going to stop doing because it's got awkward because I didn't have a video lined up. Who shall we have to play us out? Be funny if we had a CM Punk one, wouldn't it? Good night, Tammy. Thank you for joining us. I hope you see you again. Do like and subscribe and all that stuff YouTubers always tell you to do, because it does help us out. And if you do, you can join us again, and that's always nice. We're a very small community, but we're a hardcore one. You know what I mean? Everybody knows everyone, and it's changed my life being part of it. I'll tell you that. Right. Who shall we have to play us out? Who shall... Oh my God, this is my favourite. I know it's an AW one, but here we go.
God, I just listened to this Whole Yeah podcast. It was terrible. I feel like my ears are gonna bleed.
What'd you say? This is Darby Allen, and you're listening to Gimme A Hull Yeah.